side and also from the UNCTAD side, my own institution, we believe in what you do. We want to support you. We want to assist you in what you would like to do in the future, and we would like to translate what you have been talking into terms of actions. Because this is, after all, the most important thing. We can keep talking and talking ad nauseum, but we need to put things to action. And this we can do together. And of course, one of my main motivator is my dear friend and colleague, Kun Ying Supachai Matsadit, who is your founding member. I think she needs an applause, a round of applause. Kun Ying Supachai Matsadit, you're founding president. We worked together closely within the Thai Parliament for years. And she's been a person who has actually motivated me to be more and more interested in the work that women can do in politics. Because you can talk about legislation, you can talk about mainstreaming women and all those things, but if you don't get into the positions of power, nobody will do this for you, I can tell you, including the male colleagues. So it is very important to work together and to try to bring all of you into the mainstreaming of your political aspirations. The second point, second motivation is that I'm not only on my way to China, but from China I'm on my way to New York. And in New York, I'll be having a meeting with Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of United Nations, and also all my colleagues, the heads of agencies, about 20 of us, will be in New York, and this takes place twice every year, once in the spring and once in the autumn. So I will be meeting with them. And there'll be many things on the agenda, including financial crises, food crises, energy crises, but climate change will be one of the items on the agenda. As you know, Mr. Ban Ki-moon is not only adamant on the work of the UN to improve gender equality, but also very adamant to put a stamp on the work of the UN in the area of climate policy. So this coming Poznan meeting, as you know, in Poland in December, which will pave the way for the final negotiating conference in Copenhagen next year, as a follow-up to the Kyoto conference on climate change, will be discussed, and we'll be determining what is to be done, what kind of setup there must be at the next so-called UN FCCC meeting in Poznan. And I'm going to be committed to what you are saying here. I'm going to relay things that you are saying here to this CEB meeting, Chief Executive Board meetings, so that on climate change, the participant, when I was in Bali, I was told that one third of the participants are women in Bali last year. It must be improved. The target must be more than one third, and one half at least we must have women participating there. So this is another motivation that I would like to fulfill. The third one is about the work that we are doing in UNCTAD. I don't know whether you know enough about UNCTAD, but UNCTAD is a United Nations institution. We are sort of the think tank on economic development for United Nations, and most of the time we work on trade, development, and related issues like finance, like investment, like trade rules, competition rules, and things like that. And gender is part of our work. I would like to inform you that in the past couple of years, we published some major reports, two of which are quite well known. One is called Mainstreaming Gender into Trade and Development Strategy. This has been used by various universities around the world to mainstreaming gender into trade and development strategies. And another one is on Africa and moving towards gender sensitization of trade policy. Recently, we just held a meeting in Africa, in Accra, in Ghana. It was a meeting on gender that I organized, wherein the First Lady of Ghana attended. And one of the points we were making in Africa was that women appear to be the least let me say, the most underutilized resources in Africa. The most underutilized resources in Africa. When you talked about economic development and economic and social development, we have the research results that demonstrate that women have been more amenable to social development because they save more than men. And what happens is that they spend their saving more on their family and the development of their own children. They spend more money on the education. So they are agents of social changes in Africa. And this is true for many parts of the world. So this is what we've been doing in Africa. We've been doing also lots of work in Latin America with our brothers and sisters, our sisters particularly in the Andean Pact. I don't know whether some of you are from the Andean region or not, because we've done a lot of work with women in the Andean region to create the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises, for women to operate in a way that they make use of the products from the forest. The Amazon around them. Amazon region is rich with all kinds of things. As you know, more than 50% now of the cancer drugs are derived from the products from the Amazon forest. We've set up women with our SMEs. We link them up with pharmaceutical firms. We link them up with the supermarkets in Europe so that they can have prosperous businesses at the same time take care of the biodiversity of their own forests. So we work like this in various parts of the world, and I would like, again, to learn from what you are doing here so that my gender program at UNCTAD can be enriched with your experiences, with your thoughts, your determination. So these are some of the things that I have had in my mind when I came here. On my way here, of course, these days, my friends and colleagues in Geneva, one thing. In Geneva, we have an informal grouping, which is called Women Ambassador in Geneva. Women Ambassador in Geneva, very strong group. And every year on International Women's Day, they would gather around, and all of us, the heads of organization, will be called up to have a so-called social lunch or dinner. And then each and every one of us will have to report how much work his or her own institutions, agencies have been doing in terms of promoting gender empowerment and gender equality. And so another motivation of mine is that I hope that next year, Women Ambassadors in Geneva meeting, I would have a lot to say about women and climate change from here. And that is another pleasing prospect for me. Let me come back to the issue that I'm supposed to be addressing this morning, which is about the role of gender in climate change and its impact on trade and the economy. This is really a very, very broad topic. And in order to do it justice, one will have to cover very wide overarching areas like human rights, demographics, food securities, energy security, urbanization, migration, informal economy, innovation, standards, MDGs, all this plethora of issues that will relate with climate change and also the role of women. But I was very much heartened by the meeting last year, the UNFCCC meeting in Bali that I was already alluding to. Because at the Bali meeting, we argue successfully from the UN side that women need to be involved in the negotiations around climate change and climate change mitigation and adaptation, as the Senator has been saying, and also to be consulted on their priorities. It was said there that women would support more drastic policies and measures on climate change. In other words, there would be the strongest supporters and allies of those who promote progressive and significant dimensions in climate change mitigation and adaptation policies.